Happy Sip and Sparkle Sunday. Hello, Robert.
Hi, Lisa.
How are you?
doing?
I'm doing awesome.
Doing fantastic.
Cheers. Let's take a sip. That's what we do.
Oh, that's good.
Awesome. It is good.
Yeah.
Yum, yum.
I'm happy to be here today.
Well, I'm
Join
so
us.
excited. I know. So, for those of you who are just joining us for the first time, Robert is my second male guest, and I have been doing this now for, oh my gosh.
She means on Sip and Sparkle.
On
though.
Sip and Sparkle, right. Gosh, for like a year or close to a year, I think I've been doing this. So I'm super excited that you're here. Kind of the purpose of doing these interviews every week is to just interview awesome small business owners in the community and just to join networks and just create awareness of all the fabulous resources that we have in the community. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Robert. Why don't you just kind of introduce yourself and share a little, and we'll go from there.
Hi, everybody. I'm Robert. My last name is Gralla. If you can't tell from the accent now or perhaps later, I'm originally from New York. I was born in a little town called Brooklyn, and I grew up in Queens County, Forest Hills. If anybody has ever heard of the band or the singing group called the Ramones, I'm from the same area that they're from, Forest Hills. And if you ever heard of Simon and Garfunkel, they went to my high school, or I went to their high school.
Wow.
And one more, Jerry Springer was also a graduate of Forest Hills High School.
Wow.
So I'm originally from New York, and people ask how I came down here.
Yes.
And I said I got in my car and I drove on the highway. And then they go, come on, Robert, tell us the real story. So anyway, back in beginning of 2000 or the end of 99, I was getting divorced, and I just said, I'm done with New York. I need to get out of New York. And I came down to Texas, and I moved into the Dallas area, and I haven't moved back ever since because I absolutely love Texas, and it's a great place to live. So that's a little bit about background about me. Do you want to know what I do for a living or what I do for work?
Maybe. Sure. I'm sure our viewers would like to know that.
Does anybody want to know? Oh, the girl in the blue shirt, she said yes.
She said yes.
Yeah, the one sitting next to the guy with that thing on his head, that crazy looking thing.
It's like, dude, you gotta take that off. That's awful.
And we're indoors. Take the sunglasses off too. You know, you give people tickets to a show, but you can't make them behave.
I know, right? Scary.
I am a financial professional. I'm a certified public accountant, a certified fraud examiner, and a forensic accountant. What all that means, I don't know, but it sounds really, really good, and it just about fits on my business card.
Right.
Okay? And the way I got into accounting was way back when I was going to college. I was registering for the first time, and it was in August, and this is around the time when computers were first being used, right at the end of the Stone Age.
Stone Age, thanks.
Well, me, I didn't say anything about anyone else.
Oh, I'm right there with you.
Okay, true confessions, ladies and
Yes, I
gentlemen.
know. Now you know.
So it was this huge, giant room we were all registering in, and it was in the end of August, and it was about 95 degrees and very, very humid that day. Yeah. And guess what wasn't working? Air conditioning. So I'm looking around the room, and I look and I find the shortest line in the room. And I got on that line, and guess what that was the line for?
To be an accountant.
Yes, that's why it was the shortest line.
That's so funny.
And I just said, I've always had an interest in business, I'll do it. And that's how I got my background, and that's how I started in accounting.
That's so funny.
Crazy.
And you stuck with it.
I stuck with it, and to this day, I still do tax, and I do accounting.
Yes.
And I hope one day to retire and win the rat race.
Yes, that would be awesome. So the forensic accounting part of it, kind of dive a little bit into that, exactly what it means. Because I know most people know what an accountant does or a CPA. And yeah, Robert's unique in the sense that he's got a great personality. So that's kind of fun.
Well, hold on. There's the guy in the gray blazer standing up. He's raising his hand.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes. Yeah. Oh, to the left, out the door, to the left. That's where the men's room is. Sorry, Lisa. Go ahead.
All right. So elaborate on the forensic accounting component of it.
The forensic accounting component.
Yes.
I need to put my Sherlock Holmes hat on and get my pipe.
Okay.
Forensic accounting is sort of like being a financial detective. You go in after something was done, after the crime was committed, and you figure out what was done, how it was done, who did it, how much they took, why they did it, and you put the pieces of the puzzle together. And that's what a forensic accountant does. Anyone that's involved in forensics comes in after the fact and puts things back together. That's what forensic people do. The best way to describe forensic accounting is, and I hope this isn't off color, okay, there was a woman many years ago in New York City that was an escort. She had an escort service.
Okay.
And she never reported her income. She had some very high-profile clientele.
I bet.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure.
Let me put it this way. When she got arrested and they brought her to the police station and they asked who her clients were, at the airport, it was very busy with a lot of top-notch people flying out of town.
I'm sure.
Gosh. So they arrested her. The IRS comes in and says, how much money did you make? Because they wanted to get her for income tax evasion. She made money, and she never paid tax, never reported, wanted to get her for income tax evasion. Which, taking a side note, do you know how they arrested Al Capone, what his charges were when they arrested him?
No.
Income tax evasion.
Oh, that's right. I did hear that.
Never got him for bootlegging.
Wow.
Never got him for murder, corruption, racketeering.
Interesting.
Income tax evasion. A little tiny Jewish accountant was the one that found this out. Kid you not. He brought down the whole Al Capone empire.
Wow.
Some little short guy. Seriously. So anyway, the Mayflower madam is there. The IRS comes in and says, how much did you make? She goes, I didn't make anything. Now, how to figure out how much money she made. So this is forensic accounting 101.
Okay.
They figured out how much the average cost of an escort was in the New York City area at the time.
Okay.
Whatever it was, $100, $200, $300. Then they had to figure out, they know the price of the sale, they had to figure out how many sales she had. So think about this, and this is where it might get a little off color, and if it does, I apologize. They subpoenaed all of the laundries within a 5 or 10 mile area, and they figured out how much business they were doing with the Mayflower madam, which was her name, the Mayflower madam. Then what they did is they figured out each set of linen was considered to be used for one escort. So they knew how much linen was being used. Okay, then they figured out the average cost of an escort. So if you multiply the average cost times how many there were, they figured out approximately how much money she made. And they figured that out, and they were able to arrest her and try her and convict her for income tax evasion.
How much did she make?
I don't remember what the numbers were. But
it was so curious.
It was big.
Oh, I'm sure.
And trust me, some of the high-level people who were her clientele, they didn't pay with charge cards. It was all cash.
Of course. Untraceable.
Untraceable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's Forensics 101, Forensic Accounting 101.
So, what is the most unusual case that you were on?
Good question. I've been on a couple of interesting cases. There was one case that I was on that it was a guy that owned a bar restaurant in a city. I'm not going to say where, in a city. But hold on a minute. Folks, just hold on 1 second. Lisa, it's been a while. Cheers.
Cheers, yes.
Cheers
we have to
you.
sip. Cheers. It's Sunday, we sip.
Sip and sparkle on Sunday.
Yes.
Yes.
And I'm sparkling, so yes. So we're good.
I left my jewelry at home.
I know. I'm so disappointed in you.
I
Okay, people want to know this. What's your
okay.
craziest?
So there's a guy that had a bar and a restaurant.
Okay.
And he was going out of business. Okay? His sales were going down, and he was going out of business. And then all of a sudden, one day, oops, there was a fire. His place burned down.
Whoopsie.
These accidents do happen.
Yeah.
So the insurance company investigated. They were about to pay off on the claim, the fire claim. But they just weren't sure what to do because they just felt that there was just something wrong. So through an attorney, through another private investigator, through a few people, they hired me to do forensic accounting on his books and his records and his tax returns and all that stuff.
Interesting.
So what I found was his sales were going down, but he was buying more liquor and inventory. So
Interesting.
He's going out of business and his sales are down. Why is he buying more inventory? Doesn't make sense, okay? So the feelers are going out. So what we did was we were able to get records of his personal charge cards. And by the way, folks, this is a great lesson that you will learn about investigation. But if you're working on a business, you ask the people for or you subpoena their personal charge cards, because if you're in a business and you don't want anything to happen on your business or get caught for it, you do it on a personal level. Of course. And vice versa. And also, it's interesting, I work with family lawyers, and whenever there's a divorce case, what we do is when there's personal records, we always ask for business records. And boy, some of the things you find in business records.
I'm sure.
Criminals aren't smart. They're just not smart. Okay. So we got his personal records and we got his personal charge cards, and we found that he had about 3 or 4 storage facilities. U-Haul storage and all those places, Uncle Bob's storage throughout the city, and we're able to get search warrants to get into those storage facilities. And guess what we found in there?
Lots of liquor.
Lots and lots of liquor.
Wow. So he was selling it lots on the black market, or?
Well, what he was doing, he wasn't selling it per se, but he was just buying the inventory, because he was going to say that the inventory vanished in his fire and use that to start up another business. Use the inventory so he was going to buy it and have it and also get paid by the insurance company for it, besides a general liability insurance claim.
Oh, that's crazy.
So he was going to collect twice. He was going to collect not twice, but he's
double
dip on the liquor.
Yeah.
And he's also going to get a claim for all of the assets, furniture, fixtures, everything else, and general liability insurance on a claim. So we found this, and he never admitted to it, but through the circumstantial evidence, he was convicted for arson. He didn't do the arson. He had people that came in to do it. So that was one of my more interesting cases.
Very, very interesting.
That I worked on, yes.
I love it.
Yes. And there was one case that I worked on, and it was about a $10 million land asset, money, securities involved. And when I walked into the attorney's office, one of the first questions he asked me, he goes, are you afraid of people that are hired to beat up other people? I'm going, it's a great way to make a good relationship starting out. So,
all right. So I'm working for the mafia. How nice.
That was another interesting case.
I bet it was.
So
Wow.
I've done some very interesting cases with my forensic accounting skills and my fraud examination. And I also do, you know what else I do? I won't say it, but I'll ask. Does anyone else know what I do? Wait, the lady with the blue dress? No, I'm not a bartender, okay? She's a bartender. No. Wait, the guy, with the gray shorts on, Yes, sir? Yes, sir? No, I don't work for the circus. Sorry about that. I also do, since no one really guessed it, okay? I also work as a tax consultant. I help people file good and proper tax returns. I work with the IRS to help when someone gets in trouble with the IRS to try to get their assessment down or try to get them out of the assessment. And I also help people file good and proper tax returns. So
awesome. Yes. And he's very good at what he does. Yes, he gets lots of glowing recommendations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Helps a lot of people. So you've shared a lot. I'm sure everybody's heads are spinning right now.
I didn't mean to talk too much.
No, it's awesome. It's very entertaining. So if we were to refer people to you, what is an ideal client for you?
Okay, first thing, they have to be able to pay me. First thing, can't do this for nothing.
Yes, money is important.
To be able to pay me. I look for people that need to file a personal tax return. You know, for example, you have a married couple, you have 2 wage earners, maybe 2 kids, a side business. How many people out there, let's ask the audience, okay? How many people in the audience, okay, and I'm sorry, you don't have little buttons to press like some of those TV shows, just raise your hand, okay? Well, if they're, Miss, I'm sorry, you can sit down, it's okay, I didn't say anything bad, you can stay, you don't have to leave. How many people in the audience do have what's called a side gig, a second type of job, a part-time thing?
Lots and lots of people.
Yeah.
Multiple streams of income, baby.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
It is.
Multiple streams of income.
It is.
Okay. That's what a lot of people have. And if you have a regular job with a W-2 form, it's simple. But when you get those multiple streams of income, multiple businesses, that's what gets a little bit tough. And one of the things that people don't know what to do all the time is what deductions they can actually take.
Exactly.
What they can take and what they can't take. And believe me, I've seen some weird things that people will tell you.
I'm sure.
Gosh.
Some very weird. Well, and the thing is it changes so much based on who's in Washington. You know, it just seems like every year, well, I shouldn't say every year, but, you know, when there's a change in the White House, might not happen immediately, but there's always a big shift in what's going on. So you have to stay on top of it.
Yeah, every year they have some small changes at least every year. And this past year were huge changes. Huge changes.
Yeah.
You know who makes out the best when there's huge changes in the tax law? People? No.
The government.
The government? Maybe.
A little bit.
People that prepare the returns? No. The people that write the books to teach us what the changes are.
Yes.
They make out the best
because
that stuff is so expensive. And we all have to take those classes. But
right.
Yeah, every few years they have some major changes. And this past year there were some major changes. And for the most part, I think personally that they were very good changes because I have seen people pay less in tax this year than I have in previous years.
We had a refund for the first time in 6 years. And regardless of political whatever, I have to say I was quite delighted with having a refund.
Yeah, wasn't it good to have
a refund? It was great to have a refund. So.
I didn't prepare the return.
Yes, I know.
Let's poll the audience, okay?
Okay.
And let's see how many people this year got a refund as opposed to having to pay, okay? Those in the audience, okay, who got a refund instead of having to pay this year, raise your hand. Wow.
Impressive.
About 3/4 of the audience got a refund this year.
Yeah, that's impressive.
The people with the hands down that didn't get a refund, see me afterwards. I'll give you my business card.
Yes.
Okay?
And for our online viewers here, how do they get a hold of you?
Oh, you can either email me, you can call me, or this is Texas, right? Take your horse and ride it down to my office, okay?
Okay.
Can I give you my phone number?
Give them whatever information you would like them to contact you by.
Okay. My phone number is 214-244-2535. And I try to say that without my New York accent. So if you don't understand that, I will get a pad and paper and just write it down for you to see. But it's 214-244-2535.
Awesome.
And that's how you can get in touch with me.
And then, okay, you said email too. What's your email address?
My email is rgralla, rgralla, at, everyone knows the at sign, at Robert, which is my first name, Gralla, Gralla, my last name, .com. rgralla at robertgralla.com.
Perfect.
That's how you can get in touch with me.
Awesome. I love it. Okay, so no plans to go back to New York? You're happy here?
I go back to visit.
Yeah.
I have family up in New York. Actually, I have a son in New York that's getting married this November.
That's so awesome.
Yeah,
Yay, congratulations.
Michael.
Cheers, Michael!
But I go back to visit. I still like to visit New York.
Okay.
I don't know if I'd ever go back to live because it's cold in the winter.
Yes, it is.
Very cold in the winter. And it's very expensive to live there. The cost of living and the income taxes you pay in New York State are very expensive. I love New York, don't get me wrong. It's my own personal opinion. If I had an opportunity and something came up that brought me back to New York, I would go. But until that would happen, I like it here in Texas.
Yeah.
I like it here a lot.
That's how we feel about California. We moved here in 2002, not thinking that we would be here as long, and we really love it. So, Texas is good. Well, this has been awesome. Thank you, Robert. This has been a lot of fun.
Thank you for the invite.
I've enjoyed it.
Okay.
All right.
Can you say goodbye?
Goodbye.
Right. Goodbye,
Until
everybody.
next Sunday. Happy Sip and Sparkle. Bye.